I should have dosed up before this.
Oh, hey, Alice. You have joined us at a very momentous time. We once again have the great and powerful Evan Carpenter and very special guests, Maiden Mother Crone. So
That's right.
you guys have your album release coming up June 29th, where you're playing your new record in its entirety, along with Wulven and Tape Deck Mountain. So I'm really excited about that. That's going to be really fucking cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're
Very
stoked.
excited.
Yeah, we're stoked.
It's gonna be a good time.
It's gonna be great to just play it top to bottom.
Yeah. I haven't
Cool,
been to
good.
Exit in a minute, so that'll be cool.
Us too.
Yeah,
We're really looking forward to that.
it'll be the first time we played our music on that stage. We
Yeah.
had like a Queens of the Stone Age like tribute show with like a bunch of bands last year.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Right before it got.
I was there for that.
closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, were you really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I came in late. I saw Karma Vulture do
yeah.
their
Okay.
two songs,
Yeah.
Kill the Witch, Burn the Witch, and
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
What was the Mexico? Did they do Mexico?
I think they did do Mexico.
it's
Yeah.
the one something ecstasy and alcohol.
Oh, they did Feel Good Hit of the Summer.
Yeah.
Oh,
But Alice, The Sky Lay Still While All Around Us Fell is out now. I'll put links up to that. And yeah, definitely check that out if you're done here. And then if you want to see those guys live, definitely be there on the 29th at Exit In with, well,
Please.
again, Wulven and Tape Deck Mountain. I haven't seen Wulven yet, so that's cool. But Tape Deck Mountain, love those guys.
Cool guys.
Some of the best.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how long have you guys been operating together?
Been 4
4 years. A little
now.
over 4 years. We started. It was like early 2019.
Okay.
Wesley, Greg, and I started writing together like right at the start of that year, and then Dave.
They
came
hit
in
me up, sent me
February.
a message, sent me some songs. They were good.
Did we send you songs?
Yeah, they sent me a clip
Really?
of Blue Ruin and
I didn't know that. I thought we just
an Eon
we just messed
in their
around.
early forms,
Okay.
and I thought they were good.
Okay, so
So-
this album's a long time in production.
Yeah, those
Mhm.
two songs are like the first two that we wrote, and we like re-recorded.
So those
from
two
our
were on
first
the
EP.
EP.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just and the EP just didn't quite do it justice.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Where'd
It
you guys-
fit the narrative of the whole record as a whole,
Mhm.
so it was made sense to bring them back in and redo them.
It was a
And it
good
just
fit.
sounded better.
I mean,
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
Yeah, if you hadn't have told me, I wouldn't have guessed like that album wasn't written like as an entire like thing in and of itself, because everything does run into each other really good.
it was kind of a funny thing. Thank you for saying that. First
Yeah.
off,
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny because we like it's almost like this is kind of a collection of everything we've done from the beginning, basically. Most of it was written.
4 years essentially.
Yeah, I mean, like aside from the stuff that we've put out since we've been together, but we've got like some super old songs and like the majority of it written kind of in lockdown, and then a couple like within the last probably year and a half, 2 years maybe, and just playing it and kind of like working it all up, sort of figured out in order where I'm like, yeah, this we all kind of felt like it had a solid flow to it.
didn't we write Patterns of Man like a month before we went to the
Yeah,
studio?
but yeah, that was the
That
last
was
one.
like
That
the
was
last.
like,
It was just like
yeah.
there it is.
Yeah, I had COVID and like just got stoned and started playing my baritone guitar and was just like, I think I have an idea. And it just kind of like I did a demo and it just sort of fell out and like we reworked it a little bit and then it was like, okay, well there's another one we can just throw into the mix.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Usually it doesn't happen like that. It usually takes a while for us to
Pretty
like
quick.
really nail down a song. But
So is it kind of like you have like a rough idea and then you guys all get together and work it out?
There's a few different ways.
Yeah.
it's never really the same.
Goes
One
down.
of the
Yeah.
ways is Nick often will kind of just write some things, at home. He'll kind of come up with some like rough demos, bring it to us, and then we'll either talk about it.
Mhm.
We usually play it
Yeah.
or go, yes, do this, don't do this, and we kind of talk through what we want to do. Then sometimes it's like we jam it out, write it that way. There's a few songs where sometimes it's a section of the song where we just kind of like figure out the bridge, or maybe it's the chorus from jamming, or we just write the whole thing that way.
Sometimes it just starts as like a little bitty riff idea, and then jam on it for a hot
Yeah.
minute and go into different things, and then try to connect the dots and see what works.
Yeah, it's always like a weird when we're just kind of jamming something and trying to write it kind of all together. It'll feel like a bunch of this, and then it'll be like, there it is, and then it'll just like it'll take off.
Nice.
A lot of the time, if one of us demos something at home, though, at least for me, like it's kind of just to get like the most basic sketch of a song, because I always know it's going to change like when we all start playing on it. But I don't know. Sometimes it's kind of fun to have like a sort of structured thing to work on, and then other times it's like, let's just see what the fuck happens. It really just depends on the day and the idea, you know.
It's a very like fleshed out full sound. Like I didn't get to listen to it with headphones, but I wish I did, because it's like atmospheric. Like there's a lot of moving pieces to it. Yeah.
She's a dense lass.
Dummy thick, dude.
Yeah, dummy thick indeed.
Quite.
Where'd you guys record at?
So Andy Gregg, the drummer of Take Back Mountain, he's got a hell of a resume, and we got on with him real well. Honestly, just incredible.
It was
experience.
just fun. Like we felt like we were hanging out with like our cool uncle, kind of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Nice.
Basically in his living room, and
Pretty
he's
much,
got his like whole boardroom and everything kind of up the stairs.
It's like a crow's nest.
He's got some different things where it's like there's isolation booths and stuff, but we really just did basic tracks all together. Greg and I basically knocked drums and bass out in a day for the whole album. And then we were just on to the guitars at that point.
That was crazy. I forgot we did all that. It was like 11 songs, one of which didn't make it on the album, but all the drums and bass is literally like we did 10 in a day and then did one the next day.
I or Greg
like we did
the next day.
The majority of the music in like 5 days. And then I would have to go back.
We were rehearsed.
Yeah. No, we played all that stuff like religiously for like close to 2 years. But
a long time.
We knocked out guitars super quick.
It's like 2 days.
Guitars, it was 2 to 3 days,
2 to 3,
probably.
just with different shit.
And then over time, while mixing, we might go back. Like I remember redoing a couple of things, and then I'd have to go back like whenever me and Andy could find time and do vocals. But it all the tracking was like really, really quick. Like all together was maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I would usually go when I did my vocal stuff, it was like I'd try to do at least 2 to 3 songs a day. And sometimes it'd be, I'd show up for 4 hours and we'd knock out 3 songs, be like, I don't know how we did it, but fuck yeah. Like
hell yeah.
It was the mixing was the most tedious thing.
Which took
Mixing took a minute.
Well, and Wesley always adds synths later too. Like all of the extra noise, and like there's 2 tracks that's just like noise stuff, and that's all the wizard over here.
Okay, that makes sense. I can see that now. That's cool.
Yeah, mid-mixing process, Andy would like send us our like mixes on Dropbox, and I would take those and I would reference those and do overdubs around them, and then send them back to him on Dropbox, and then we just pop them right in.
Nice.
Added a little bit of extra time, but
it's got to be perfect, We nitpicked it so much, and no, it's not fucking right.
Well, it fucking paid out, man. Like
appreciate it.
Fucking
Very
solid.
much.
We're stoked on it for sure. It's weird that it's out already. Like we worked on it for so long, and then we had to wait to put it out, and then we're like, oh, it's finally here.
Yeah.
It probably won't feel like it until after that one really showed.
Yeah.
At least for me, I'm like, wait, we put it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put it out. Like,
where do you think art comes from? Like how
big
The
question
right
number
brain.
one.
Yeah.
This hemisphere.
Go on. Was there more to the question? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Like well, I guess I'm trying to think of a better way to say this. Like
Like inspiration, or just
like
Cosmic
Or
energy,
the ability to
creative
harness
force.
it.
like so I'm not a musician, but I write poetry, and
Okay.
it's like when I get an idea for something, it's like that's not me like sitting down and like trying to write something. It's usually when I'm like
it
driving.
doesn't feel like work.
Well,
Sort of
yeah,
thing. It just
yeah.
flows.
Sort of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This may sort of answer the question. I lately have been a little more interested in sounds, and so like when I'm listening to music, sometimes I go back to old shit that I heard, and I'm interested in a sound I heard from it, and maybe it's like I can take that, how do I achieve it and capture it, whether it's like fuzz or delay or verb, because when I'm playing bass, I'm not just playing a clean bass, I'm using lots of delays and verb and stacking effects. So I'm often listening to things like, it could be chat pile for some real heavy kind of distorted fuzzy tones, or maybe I'm going and listening to Roger Waters for a certain kind of flat wound bass tone. It could be anywhere. There's a whole bunch of them, but I'm listening to sounds a lot.
So if I'm understanding, it's kind of like environmental, where it's like you're picking up on things you've picked up on your whole life, and like also more recently seeing things you want to try to like bring into. So it's like kind of a melting pot of a bunch of different experiences. Yeah.
Sometimes it's sound, sometimes it's note choice, all that kind of shit.
And it's almost like taking things that have inspired you and using them as their own little tools, kind of thing.
It's like a mental scrapbook that you melt into a candle.
That's right.
Its own device.
I have a kind of half-assed put together answer for that. That it just reminds me of something that an old friend of mine used to always say. Because we would get into these, like, we'd be joking about nothing, and then it would kind of wander into this like really deep sort of existential or philosophical conversation. And something that he used to always say and kind of like just giggle, he would say it almost like as if it's like cherry on top, like kind of cap off the conversation. But he would always say human beings are almost like fourth dimensional beings in a third dimensional world. And so our kind of sort of concept around, creating art and inspiration and all this stuff, and like you said, when it's like flow, it's almost like these things kind of come through you rather than you making them happen. It's almost like we have some sort of ability to like feel that and just become the vessel for it.
Like you're picking up on something.
At least for me, I've talked to a couple of different songwriters about this, where it's like an initial idea a lot of the time, same thing, it doesn't really feel like work, and then sometimes the whole song or whatever it may be happens, and then sometimes it's just a portion and you step back and then you kind of have to roll your sleeves up and like put the work in to finish it. It's like
Fill in the spaces.
there's kind of a weird utilitarian aspect of it too, in the way, at least for me, and like how I write music. But
it's like collaborative between and like intuition and like
exactly
and like learning how to like actualize that and like make it happen. That's cool.
I got a question for you guys. What's been the most surprising thing that has influenced or changed your music?
Black metal.
I feel like that's a hard one to answer altogether as a band. I feel like that one would have to be individual.
Drugs.
Nothing surprising about that.
So during that whole lockdown period, it changed some shit.
I feel you, brother.
Oh man,
there's one thing.
A lot of time to think.
That's for sure.
Think about existence and life. And
that's a good question.
You kind of channel into the electricity between you and the nether regions of the world.
There's we should definitely get back to this question because it is a good question.
I have an answer. I have an answer for me. For you.
There's you guys know Alex Gray? He did all the Tool album art.
Absolutely.
He has a painting where it's a guy painting like a canvas. And there's this like alien thing like shooting a laser into the back of his head.
I love that one.
Awesome. And there's like an audience, like all these faces like watching. And I think maybe there's some truth to that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's also kind of a meta thing to make, because it's like
So you're making what's happening in your painting, which if you think about it, that's kind of what's happening.
It's like taking a picture in a mirror and it just keeps going back. It's like that same thing.
It's a continuous.
But man, there's only one story and we're just telling it in different ways.
Fair enough.
Different color or different twist. Different fire here and there.
Life, death, rebirth, baby.
That's it.
That's kind of where the band name came from.
Actually, I was going to ask you guys about that. Where did the band name come from?
So basically, life, death, rebirth. My uncle, this was probably, it was a little bit before we got together. I think Greg and I were kind of, because we jammed a long time ago, me, Wesley, and Greg, and we kind of messed around with some stuff. And Greg and I kept in touch. And then we got back together to play, and like we were thinking about a band, but nothing had really happened yet. Anyway, so my uncle, I was hanging out with him, and he got this tattoo, And I was like, what is that? That's cool. And he was like, oh, dude, Maiden Mother Crone. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he like very, very simply described it, kind of as this, like, I mean, it has like pagan origins. That's all like the triple goddess, like Maiden, Mother, Crone. It's like the stages of female life.
The pagan trinity.
Exactly. Yeah. And so when I was looking into it and how like all of these different sort of belief systems and whatever pulling from that, and like it sort of fading into, or sort of meaning like moon cycles and like cycles of nature, and like Maiden, Mother, Crone, life, death, rebirth, like it's kind of taking that concept and just making it just, it's basically constant evolution. Which is, we thought was pretty representative of kind of what we were already doing, because it's like, as you said, it's got like the heavy atmospheric thing, but we've kind of always like just kind of done whatever, you know. We definitely have some songs that are out that are a bit sort of outliers of that sort of sound, and we've got some stuff that we're working on that's just like left field from that sort of thing, but it's still us, you know. So, and just in general, when it comes to making art, whether it's music or whatever, it's like it is a constant evolution. You constantly have to reinvent yourself. You like stick to one thing and it just turns stale really quick, you know. So yeah, that's where the band name came from.
I dig it.
Yeah.
So again, what is the most shocking thing that's influenced you, and why is the answer Taylor Swift?
1989, baby.
I was about to say.
Brian Adams.
Oh my
All that
God, I
heartbreak she
forgot
goes
he
through.
ruined
It's real
that whole album.
inspiring to see.
Jesus.
Her in pain.
That new album is kind of fucking slaps.
It's
No
catchy as
I
fuck.
have not heard
It's
it.
no,
Yeah,
it's catchy.
I actually haven't really
I'll
listened
give
to
her
it
that.
much.
I'm not into her music, but it's all.
I'm not a hater.
Yeah, right.
I haven't listened to it all the way through, but like what I've heard, I'm like, damn, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
I'll trust it. Yeah.
I bet Taylor Swift's saying the same thing.
Yeah, she's just like, we're done with it.
Where's the Taylor Swift
Yeah,
black metal?
Where's the
album?
corpse paint Taylor Swift
Do we have
era?
to, do we have to
That's the
make
next
that?
era.
I
of
think-
Taylor Swift.
I think you guys wrote it. That's
Where's our
what-
royalties?
Shit.
then?
Where's she at? Yeah.
Where's my check? I just need
That's
$500 bucks.
hilarious.
So what? Okay, so like, what did your parent like? Let's go around. What did your parents listen to growing up? Like, what was in the house or in the car?
Which way are we going?
Any way you guys want to.
I can start.
He pointed at me and Dave's like, got it.
Got it. It was a lot of different things. My mom and dad both were really into like Chicago, Earth, Wind and Fire, classic rock in general. But you know, I come from musicians where like my dad grew up playing sax, my grandfather was a professional saxophonist,
That's dope.
mom played a whole bunch of instruments.
Do you play sax?
Nah, I played trumpet and
He
French
plays
horn.
butt
Okay.
trumpet. Butt trumpet.
And piano too.
Nice.
But like so it's just like a whole bunch of like classic rock shit. And then they didn't really like play it much. It was occasionally on in the car. So I really around 6th, 7th grade, me and my buddy who we went to when we moved to Nashville to college, we've always been friends. We played music and stuff. He was showing me things like Zeppelin and Stadium Arcadium just came out. Those were the two big ones that kind of got me into music. And so kind of went from there, just listening to anything, whether it was like Nirvana or I remember I got into Kiss a little bit. Now I look back on that and
Sorry to hear that, man.
yeah.
There's a picture of him out there with the makeup on and everything.
Oh my God, did you? Please tell me you did. The Kiss makeup?
Did you?
Ah, man,
never did it.
Didn't you see them live?
No, I never
You didn't
seen
see them live? Oh,
Did you?
God.
All right, well, there's 4 of us in the band, so we need to do ourselves up in Kiss makeup for Halloween,
Reverse Kiss, maybe.
and then play black metal Taylor Swift songs.
Hell yes.
Yeah,
Halloween.
Halloween.
Let's get our
baby.
Halloween show.
This is the best bad idea I've ever heard.
It's a
Go
fantastic.
a lot of different directions, but it always comes back to Taylor Swift black metal.
Hell yes.
Taylor Swift.
We really bonded a lot on we both grew up with like Metallica, like that early Metallica shit, like where we learned like the first like 2 records like crazy. That was that's one thing because I started on
Chili
guitar.
Peppers. You and I
And
bonded
so-
over the Chili Peppers.
yeah.
hard as fuck.
Mhm.
And Pink Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I grew up like listening to a shitload of like 70s like pop hits. I listened to like disco.
I was gonna point at him and just say this man is a walking music encyclopedia.
But yeah, grew up listening to like 70s on 7 XM and listen to like Casey Kasem's. Like they'd go back and do like every weekend. It would be like the top 100 songs in 1972 this day and blah blah blah. And I would just listen to that constantly. Yeah, disco, funk, soul. But then yeah, like prog rock, punk rock. My parents would just listen to a lot of classic rock too. Though. So yeah, like Boston Sticks, like lots of AOR shit. Like
I was listening to
Kansas.
Black Sabbath.
I was just about to say Sabbath.
I mean, Black Sabbath is a huge one.
Yeah,
big one.
I was listening. I can't remember. I think it's Elves Wear Shoes, whatever that one's called.
Fairies wear boots.
Fairies wear boots.
I like Elves Wear Shoes.
Yeah.
You got it.
Those are stockings.
It's so in the ballpark. It's like just that.
I knew that was wrong, but I was like, it's close enough. They'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I was listening to that the other day, and I'm like, man, just that sound, like the sound of the recording, you don't hear shit like that anymore.
Yeah.
Like the drums are
This
just
is true.
like it just hits, man. I don't know. You can feel the drums on that.
The Billboard groove is one of the most defining things of all music.
How could they continue without Billboard?
You just any Sabbath, any band that's copied Sabbath from like the 90s and stuff, all the stoner rock stuff. It's the Billboard groove that makes it so fucking good.
Anyone who hasn't watched a YouTube video of Sabbath in Paris, where Ozzy comes out with that broom. It's like the greatest. One of the like greatest things.
I'm gonna have to look that up later.
I mean,
I was in church when I was 12, and they were like, "Write a picture of somewhere you wish you could be," and I was like, "Paris, 1970, watching Black Sabbath."
That's the best thing to write in church.
That's crazy that Mickey Mouse went to your church. What denomination were you?
It was a lot of different things growing up.
Like non-denominational?
Luckily, sadly, no.
Okay, I got you.
I went to a United Methodist church for a while, lots of robes and shit, and some Baptist stuff, and I saw some crazy face slapping stuff, and yeah, it was crazy. Lots of crazy shit.
Did you ever do the laying of hands?
Not me.
No.
I watched it happen live.
I was fucking raised by Jehovah's Witnesses.
No fucking
fun.
way. Are you serious?
Yeah.
So was I.
Really?
Whoa!
Yeah. High five.
High five. Are you serious?
You survived.
What,
You're here?
What were you raised? Did you grow up there?
Yeah.
What congregation did you go to?
Let's see. Grew up going to the Smyrna one.
Okay.
So I lived in Laverne.
Okay.
And then we moved to Franklin. Went to that one for a minute. And then, so my parents, when they split up, I was 8 and they both kind of fell out of it. And then my dad went back like a couple years later. And then we were going to someone in Bellevue.
Okay.
We just hopped around a bunch. And then in Lebanon, like that's where my grandparents live. And they've been like hardcore Jehovah Williams their whole life. That's what we call it, Jehovah Williams.
Dude,
now.
what a small world. That's crazy.
That's nuts.
I grew up in Fayetteville.
Okay.
Until I was 18, and then I moved out. But my sister's a regular Pioneer.
Really?
Yeah.
My brother is too. That's nuts.
Small world, man. That's wild.
Regular,
that's crazy.
Next level regular.
Yeah.
You don't know what that's it.
Oh yeah, we're just talking
Is it a
deep
caste
terminology.
system?
It's nuts, man. That's so crazy.
That's wild, dude.
That is nuts.
Okay, so a lot of religious background with everybody.
Right.
My brother,
Jewish,
fun
Jehovah's
fact,
Will.
my brother will listen to our band because the name has pagan origins.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I mean,
That's what I said.
Shout out to Ethan.
did Greg also grow up religiously?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
okay. So that's like an influence for the whole band.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
man.
Well, there's your answer. The shocking
a-
thing that inspired us
It
was
is-
our old religious upbringing.
So
Organs.
you'll understand this.
Yeah.
When I was homeschooled too.
Me
Okay.
too, dude.
Really? Dude, homeschool? Fucking homeschool club, dude.
I had the best time.
Yeah. Like honestly, in a lot of ways, I think it's better than like going through the institution
That's
and like
fucking great.
yeah.
Freedom.
Yeah.
I ran wild.
But yeah. So you guys don't know exactly what I mean, but like when I turned 18, I moved out and I didn't know anybody because like
Yeah.
like I was homeschooled and a witness, so I literally knew no one outside of the
Except
organization.
Yeah.
What else do you need?
So I just started going to shows here, and that like really like filled that void
Dude, that's
of
awesome.
like community.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
It's just it's crazy to counterculture, like to
Yeah.
oppressive religious background. That's like
Sure.
we have a really interesting scene here, you know. And I just want to say, like, what you guys do is like really important, like you whether you
Thank
realize
you.
it or not,
Thank you.
like because the kind of shit saves lives for real. Like I wouldn't be here without live music. So
Appreciate it.
yeah,
I
Means
agree.
a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It kind of helps us get through life too, whether
yeah,
it's what we're consuming or whether it's what we're creating. It kind of helps us navigate
It's all
the
just
challenges
It's
of
great
life.
just to
big
meet people and
cosmic
see
gumbo.
people that you
Back
can
to the
talk
cosmic
to,
gumbo every
people
time.
that give a shit about what you give
Yeah.
a shit about, and it's
Hey,
mental health.
if we're
It's
not
great.
here to make art and experience art, like what is the point
Mhm.
Yeah.
to me?
Yeah.
There's like nothing
Yeah.
else to do really. you
Right.
know? Yeah.
Praise God.
What,
man.
One
Tell
word.
Yeah.
Praise.
Hallowed be.
Yeah, right.
Hallowed be the Maiden, the Mother, and the Crone. So that's a good segue. Like, well, actually, I want to hear what kind of music was in the house.
Oh yeah. Okay. So my mom listens to like a lot of like 60s and 70s like folk kind of stuff, like
Okay.
a lot of Joni Mitchell.
I grew up with a lot of Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah,
so
yeah, a
I
lot of
feel you on
Simon and
that.
Garfunkel. I'm trying to remember what else. There's a lot of Joni Mitchell, there was a lot of like that kind of like singer songwritery, but like really good songs kind of stuff. Like Gillian Welch is another one that was like just ingrained in my brain. But then she also listened to a lot of like Aretha Franklin and like Etta James and like Erykah Badu all the time for a little bit. I remember like I have Rim Shot like just in my head all the time. Rim Shot, it's so smooth. And then my dad always loved music. He wasn't as like big into it, I guess. You know what I mean? Like he kind of a simple-minded guy, not really. But he would appreciate that. No, but he was listening. I remember like he listened to a lot of Miles Davis.
Hell yeah, dude.
But then a lot of butt rock in the car, like on the radio. You know, like,
That's a hard fucking.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Damn, that is night and day.
And I think in some part it was like for my brother and I too, because like we hear crunchy guitars and be like, it's cool, you know, but like what's that fucking Three Doors Down song about Superman? We thought that was the
Kryptonite.
coolest shit ever when
Yeah.
I was like 6, you know. But then we also listened to a lot of like 70s and 80s pop, like Prince and like Hall and Oates and like a bunch of that kind of stuff. Kenny Loggins. There's a lot of Kenny Loggins in the house.
You guys are bringing a lot of different stuff to the table as far as
Yeah,
the band.
yeah.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
We like just about everything, unless it
Everything's pretty
sucks.
good. Yeah, if it sucks, we hate
I
it.
thought you said unless it's us.
Yeah.
We
made this
everything
music.
except our own band.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Hey, that record we put out, I listened to it. Sucks.
It sucks.
I hate you. Hate you.
The thing you guys slaved over for years.
Right, yeah.
We get in here and we just hate each other. You fucking bitch.
I'm actually like
Idiot.
this will be like episode like 139, 140, something like that. And I've seen that. I've seen infighting. Like you guys have a good chemistry together.
Yeah, we give each other shit just back and forth all the time, and it's all love. But we know how to like take it and just make it funnier.
Yeah.
Like if one of us throws something at the other one, they're like and then throw it
Get
back,
it right
or just
back.
turn it into something even more stupid. And it's just I don't think we've
We'll
ever
dig
actually
deep.
fought.
We'll dig deep. But
We'll dig deep. Oh yeah.
Get personal.
But we
it's a
know
joke.
how to laugh at it too. You know?
That's life.
So like hard segue. Do we have any I hesitate to say ghost stories because that's not really what I'm like anything that's happened to you on or not on drugs that you can't explain with reason and logic. Like anything.
I mean, I've done DMT a few times, but that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah. We can I've told
Yeah,
quite a
great
few
to have a
DMT
few.
stories on the show. So
Oh, really?
if you're
Nice.
comfortable,
Cool.
you can definitely I think that counts for sure.
Okay. I was mostly joking, but I can.
Up to you. You know, no pressure.
I will say I'll sum up like the first profound one that I had. because I had done it a couple times, but I didn't really do it, and like, go somewhere else kind of thing.
You didn't break through the first,
Yeah. Because I was kind of pussyfooting around it a little bit, and so one time I was like, "Fuck it, let's do it." And I remember like I was listening to Mogwai because it was like just something soothing that I love, and it was something I knew really
Nice
well
choice.
too. Yeah, thanks. EP+6, that one. And it was funny because I remember almost like hearing it just like, okay, later. It was just like silence. Like I heard it. It sounded like it was in this little tiny little tube for the sound somehow, and it just was like over here, and then it went away. And then it was just a whole bunch of stuff I can't explain. Aside from this one, there's this weird like image that popped up that I couldn't tell if I was a part of it or if I was looking at it. That was this really weird, like it was this 2-dimensional like cafe kind of thing. I say 2-dimensional. You couldn't really tell where like the floor met the wall and where the walls met and anything like that. But there were like men and women that frozen images, but a bunch of noise, and they were kind of like wiggling a little bit, but it wasn't like mouths moving and whatever. And all the men were blue and all the women were pink.
Whoa. And
all the furniture was like red. And then there were these little cups with like this little gold, little bit of liquid in it, but it was all like 2-dimensional, like pixelated. It was really weird. It was the most clear like DMT image thing I've ever seen. And then it kind of faded just into I don't even know. And at the time, I was like going through a bunch of stuff, super depressed. I had been doing a bunch of drugs and was just like not great in the head and was like kind of trying to work my way out of it. And kind of right before I came to, it was like this this voice that was like really deep and really high, and there were like 500 of them, and it said, "You have everything you need." And then I woke up and I was like, "Fuck, what?" And my buddy that gave it to me, he actually made it. I like got up and gave him a hug and was just like, "Thank you for that." And like went outside and was like, "What the fuck?" And then within the next month, I just was completely sober for like 3 years. So it was a pretty powerful one. Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah.
DMT is
yeah,
wild.
I wouldn't because of you, but yeah, I did meet you.
Then you got on sober.
Well, I completely changed my relationship with substances. I'll say that because I don't drink all that much. I do not smoke weed all that much. Like, I still need to kick the cigarettes, but that's about the only thing. I don't like need anything really as bad. At least like I do. I need it.
Yeah, need it.
Greg's not here, but didn't he have one related to, wasn't it silhouettes? Like the image of the woman, like the shadow. I mean, he's not here to really explain it.
Yeah.
I feel like he did, and he kind of provided some imagery for the song.
What a tease, Dave.
I know, right? Greg, not here, being operated on for his robo limbs.
Did anyone else notice that like the entire time you were telling that story, the lights were flickering, and now they're not doing it anymore?
Yeah.
Wild.
The Cosmos telling us
cosmic gumbo.
So
it's just gonna keep coming back up.
Yeah. Hey, all this is a cosmic gumbo, man. Like, it's fucking all these. You got the rice and the gumbo,
andouille sausage.
I was gonna say
andouille sausage.
Baby.
Yeah.
The bouillon.
Yeah. It's all mixed together, man. They're doing some studies right now with DMT where we're not going to make this a DMT episode.
Right. Yeah.
You've heard enough about
Hey,
this.
Its own podcast.
This is the Joe Rogan
Yeah.
experience.
Whoa.
You ever eat elk meat?
Yes.
You
Try
go
some
to a
elk.
sweat lodge and take DMT and see a deer in the woods and it's gone and he kills you.
You know what's so crazy? Gorillas.
Yeah.
Hey, Jamie, can you pull up that episode? Can you pull up that video of the guy getting fucked to death by the horse?
He's working.
Yeah.
Jamie's working.
I'll blow it up right there behind you guys.
Oh wow, look at that. He's
It's a
dead.
goose the whole time in a suit, and then there's like 3 seconds where it's
Ah!
just like, like a real
Gentleman goose, look at him go.
Oh my god.
Dirty.
That took a turn.
But they're doing studies right now where they're like doing intermuscular injections
Mhm.
and keeping people under,
Yeah.
and like multiple people at the same time, like seeing each other there.
Really?
Yeah. So it's really
Whoa.
fucking. There's like some like hard. I'm not gonna say it's like proof, but there's like hard evidence that it's not a hallucination,
Mhm.
which is something I've thought for a while now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you ever have the thing happen where it's like whatever entities are in there, like the fuck are you doing?
Oh
You ever
yeah.
had that happen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they
I-
kind of they literally they get all up in your shit. They're like, you know what I mean? But it's also this like we've been waiting for you to. It's so weird.
Dude, it's the weirdest thing I've had. The first time I did it, I had like a really profound experience. I was also going through some shit the first time I did it, and like
It's both a great and terrible idea.
Yeah.
If you're going through some shit.
yeah, it was the most painful,
Yeah.
heartbreaking experience of my life, but I needed that. Like I really needed that. And yeah, I've gotten into those stories before. We can talk about it later if you want. But I've had experiences that were just weird, like
Yeah,
nothing
same.
profound,
Yeah.
just weird. And then this most recent time I've done it, I still feel like I was under attack from something,
Yeah.
and it's made me question whether I'll ever do it again,
Okay.
because it was not this thing. Again, if these aren't hallucinations, we really don't know what the fuck we're messing with.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, that's a good point.
you're just opening up doors, man. And this last time was just not good. Like I felt like I was like fighting for my being,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah.
Did it seem sort of like an eternity of fighting, or I mean, 'cause I
So
know it's
weird.
only
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
It does something weird to time where it is 10-15 minutes,
Mhm.
but also it is also just way longer than that.
Yeah, when you're in it, you just kind of forget that time's a thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You'll experience, depending on how much you take, like you'll experience like complete ego death where you forget about you entirely.
Yeah.
It's
It'll
like-
leave you back here.
Yeah.
Great.
It's
It
something.
can be good. It can be good. I don't know. It's when you completely lose that sense of identity, I think that's kind of not a bad thing, but it can get a little
It's
a
humbling.
little sketchy.
Yeah.
You know?
It's humbling
Yeah.
to it's like, oh, I exist outside of this figure I portray myself as.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you that I've had some that are just weird, and I feel like that. I don't know. In my experience, it almost feels like when I do it and I don't pull anything from it, it's like, well, maybe I didn't need it. You know what I mean? When it's just weird, I'm kind of like, okay, well, maybe I just didn't need to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which at the same time, it's the argument of whether or not you need it is like kind of weird. But
Yeah. I think it can help some people out, and then it can like really traumatize other
Yeah.
people. And it's
Yeah.
also like completely dependent on just the experience. Like you never know what you're gonna get.
right, yeah, right. Well, and it is like the
DMT is a
set,
box of
it
chocolate.
is straight up though, because it's set and setting. It's who you're with. It's how you do it, because you know it's like it's pretty much synthesized every time. So it's like however it's made too is a big part of it.
Extracted or synthesized. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Every time I've done it, it was an extraction.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I prefer that.
DMT is like it's a molecule. So like I think I've never done it synthesized, but I think either way you're kind of, it's not like weed where there's like strands, you know, where it's like like DMT is DMT.
Well, I've in my experience, like the synthesized stuff is like the just like you're just
okay.
You know what I mean? But it's also if you freebase it.
Oh, that
And
makes
then
sense, because if you
there's
extract
chonga.
it, then there's like plant fibers and
Right.
alkaloids and shit.
There's something that I learned about called chonga that's like either an extraction or you can synthesize it, but you kind of like melt it down over like an herb or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I've had it with like CBD flower, so it's not
Okay.
psychoactive and whatever. At least the weed part of it. And that is a lot more grounded. Like you can open your eyes and look around and still see that you're here kind of thing. And it's more like close your eyes and kind of go inward sort of whatnot. But it's just as intense, and it's almost a little slower. Like it's difficult to describe because
That's the only way I've done it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is just like can be cool, but it's so much information all at once that it's like really hard to pull from. So the other way is a little more digestible in a way. Here we go. We got on the whole.
I promised myself.
Sorry,
I wasn't gonna do
everybody.
this. Before we get on to talk about DMT
I'm
for
done.
3 hours,
I'm done. I'm dropping it. I'm putting it in this little hole right here.
any supernatural, borderline supernatural experiences?
A lot of weird, super random shit.
You're
but
a
it's
walking
really hard to
supernatural
say.
experience.
Yeah.
This is a weird fucking
Yeah.
supernatural
Every
experience.
day, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. The last thing that really struck me was I don't even remember what had happened before it happened. I've been going through some weird mental shit like a few months back, and it's nothing specific, and I have no idea what it was, but we were actually at our practice doing some shit. And during a really loud part of the thing we were practicing, out of the blue, I just had like an extreme loud yell, like a vicious, violent scream that sounded like someone was right here next to me.
Fuck.
And I just whipped, and I was like, what the fuck? And they all looked at me like I was fucking losing my mind. And then I was just like, I think I am losing my mind.
Holy
And,
shit.
and no one was there. No one was fucking there.
Mid-song or was it?
It was
mid-jam?
mid-song. It was like
Okay.
mid-song.
Yeah, I remember this.
As
Vaguely.
soon as we kicked into the shit and you boys came in,
Yeah.
it was all boom. And it was just like, ah.
Oh my
And
God.
I was like, what the fuck? And I went through like about a month or so around that time where I was just like, I don't know, seeing weird shit. I don't know. Off and on weird psychosis things. Going crazy. It's fun though. You can figure some shit out through it.
Yeah.
It's all right.
How lighthearted you switched it. It's fun.
It's all right. You got to keep yourself,
On your toes.
on your toes.
Yeah.
Mentally and
Yeah.
stir it up a little. You had something you were
Yeah.
gonna say?
Good.
I was gonna say, have you ever heard of exploding head syndrome?
Mhm.
Yes.
Just read about this. It sounds
Yeah.
like that, but you're like, wait, it's
Yeah.
pretty spooky.
Yeah.
I haven't heard about this. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
It's a hell of a
Yeah.
concept.
So it's I think it's
Is this like
sleep-
spontaneous combustion?
No,
It sounds like it, right?
It's like JFK. It's head.
Yeah. Oh, you mean when JFK killed himself?
He did it first.
Yeah.
No, so
When
exploding head
JFK
syndrome.
shot JFK.
Yeah. People don't think it'd be like that, but it.
But
did.
it do.
KFJ.
Guys, we're
Getting
getting fucking
fucking
killed by the
Just smoke grenade through the window.
They know too much.
Sniper rifle through the tiles.
Lee Harvey Oswald's making a comeback, y'all.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Exploding
Exploding,
head
head syndrome. I think it's like a sleep disorder, like a mental thing. Basically, as you're falling asleep, you'll just hear some insanely loud noise. Like a lot of people say, it sounds like someone's breaking into their house, and then they
Yeah.
wake up and they like look around. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe some kind of sleep paralysis thing.
Yeah.
I don't know the
That would
story.
make
I'm not-
sense actually, because I hadn't been sleeping much then.
Well,
Mm.
the-
And
you
I
know
was
what?
drinking.
You know what a funny thing is that I learned about fucking alcoholism,
Uh-oh.
buddy.
It's like,
You tell me yours and I'll tell you mine.
No, I didn't know this. This was literally like a week or two ago. That it was something about if you don't get enough sleep, and especially if you drink something about alcohol throwing off like the quality of sleep that you get. The part of your brain that dreams will just be like, we're not waiting, and will just like fire off
Oh shit.
little bits of like you're basically dreaming while you're awake.
Damn.
So maybe that
That
was
explains a lot of things.
something
actually.
like that. I didn't know that. I don't remember exactly how like the alcohol plays into it, but if you get like just shit sleep or don't sleep at all, whatever activates dreams in your brain is just like, well, if we're not going to sleep, we're just going to sneak this in here.
Damn.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's caused like car accidents and all kinds of crazy
Shit.
shit because people just like not sleeping right.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like
Dreaming while they're awake.
like shadow people, stuff like that.
Could be.
Oh, yeah.
Like-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because that's usually tied with sleep deprivation too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seen them.
Yeah.
Wild shit.
I don't.
Out in the bayou.
This is like kind of.
Yeah, we
This
were
is-
just in New Orleans last weekend.
Oh, nice.
Had a couple
We
come
saw
back
some
with it.
Down in the bayou.
See the Rougarou?
I am the Ruben.
He's not reading.
This is kind of like a dangerous line of thinking, but I wonder about like mental illness and like seeing shit like that is actually just there
Mm.
and like where the lines are if there is one
There's
at
no
all.
veil.
Yeah.
Right.
The reason I say it's a dangerous line of thinking is like if you have mental illness like schizophrenia, maybe you shouldn't humor the idea that these things actually exist and maybe it is just all in your head and maybe that's a safer way of looking at it. But I wonder is
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
I
See,
I
wonder.
wonder how much of it could be a matter of perspective and not
I'm a
yeah,
devil's
how it
advocate
actually
kinda
is. Is that kind of what
Yeah.
you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah,
Put
like
two people in a room kind of guy.
are you insane or are you
Right.
really sane
Sure.
right now?
You're
Sure.
way too sane.
Yeah,
For your own good.
yeah. Again, dangerous thinking right now.
You never know, man.
So what about you? Had you weird experiences?
Honestly, Nothing really comes to mind that I can really think of.
It's a real grounded fellow.
Yeah, everything's just perfect and right in my life. I don't know. Yeah, nothing really that I can't explain. I don't know.
Baba Yaga?
Yeah, unfortunately.
You see the Baba Yaga?
You've met Baba Yaga
Well,
before.
that's his great grandmother was the Baba.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's
She christened him.
cool. That I like how I don't know how much truth there is to the story, and I think we should just leave it that way. It's a legend.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How was the Baba Yaga?
Christened by the
Baba Yaga is an old lady that
know
rides
Baba
around
Yaga?
in a pot that has it's like a
She melts children in a soup.
yeah.
Her house has giant chicken legs.
Yeah.
That's all the
Yeah.
house
Yeah.
runs
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's my grandmother.
Shit scared the hell out of me. Great grandmother.
Yeah.
Your grandmother's a beautiful
Can I,
woman.
Please.
Can I take a pee break?
Oh yeah.
Just
we,
in this
we can,
corner?
we'll be back after this intermission.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Hey.
there's no knob.
Baba
Uh,
Yaga. But they're Romans. Perseus and Prometheus. Oh, should I do my gravy thing? Drink gravy and you won't piss. There we go. Welcome back.
Welcome back. It's true. 9 out of 10 dentists agree that if you drink gravy, you'll piss. Will get blocked up.
Nice and clogged.
Yeah.
Nothing will get through there.
And 7 out of 10 say if you drink cum, your teeth will grow back. It's all in the stem cells.
What has all this work been for then?
Your teeth will grow back. Like even if you have teeth, you'll just grow new teeth.
I had none a year ago.
I drank cum one time, and here we are.
It was a 6-month process.
Yeah.
They start coming back.
It was a gallon a week for 6 months.
Yeah.
He's got them
Yeah.
pearly whites.
Yeah.
And I couldn't afford to buy it off the market, so it was just a
So we've talked about like
Reel it
interdimensional.
in.
Yeah. Anyway, we talked about like interdimensional stuff.
Mhm.
What do you guys think about extraterrestrials? And I guess
Yes,
when I
Yes.
yeah.
absolutely.
Okay,
You're
so let me
foolish to-
clarify, right? Because
Yeah.
because yes,
Like,
you're
to think that it's not possible, like
it's impossible for there not to be
right.
borderline impossible for there not to be life out there. So
In
my
some
question,
form.
more tailored down, do you think extraterrestrial life has been here or is currently here or both?
yeah.
Could be. We'll never know. If we don't know, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Dave's one.
I think
Yeah.
we're too. Yeah.
Joke. Where do you think we came from?
There's
The Lord's
I
people.
think we're too civilian to know. Like
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
though,
there's
it's too tough to really say. I
Yeah.
mean,
it's
it's
impossible.
very
It's too
possible.
big for there not to be them there, and then I think that it's been long enough that they've definitely been here.
they've at least driven by. and
Yeah, they've been like, fuck
maybe
that.
not.
Fuck that shit, dude.
Yeah,
Maybe not.
there's
They
cooler
drove
shit.
by in like 1943, and they were like, yeah, no.
Awkward.
Yeah.
I think we're doing better than this. Let's go.
What do you guys think about all the new like disclosure stuff that's been coming out recently?
Disclosure stuff.
All right, so I brought this up last time I was on the podcast, and I had no idea what I was talking about. But I did my research now. So this guy David Gresh, he's like this former government spook, and he's basically been saying like the government has, basically craft that is not of human origin.
Oh yeah.
They've got
Yeah,
material
I know
that doesn't
this
abide by
much.
our laws, and they probably got pilots from those craft too.
There's been a lot of whistleblowers
That's sick.
lately.
Yeah,
What
for
I
sure.
think about it, I think it's dope.
Hell yeah.
I mean,
I
that
think hell yeah,
excites
dude.
me.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Well, 'cause
ready to meet
My
them.
whole thing when it comes to just extraterrestrial life is like we have no fucking clue. We couldn't even imagine what it would be. It's like and as many representations of aliens that there are in whatever medium of media, whatever. It's like I don't think they would look anything close to
Right.
what we think.
Mm.
No two
We
arms, two
evolved
legs,
based
two eyes kind
on
of thing.
our
Like
planet, so
exactly.
They would.
I feel like
evolve
because
based
their
on the
genetic
parameters.
makeup and whatever else would probably be completely different. Like their planet, instead of having like life due to hydrogen, oxygen, whatever it is, it's like fucking argon and germanium. I don't know.
Yeah.
It
it's
might
a
not be
completely
carbon-based
different.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Exactly.
Could be completely different elements.
There's a documentary I really like called The Museum of Alien Life, and it breaks it down into like if we were to come across alien life, what would it look like? And it breaks it down it's a 2-part documentary where half of it is carbon based, and then it gets into non-carbon based and what that gets really weird because how would we even know if it's alive if it doesn't
Right.
eat or sleep? It's like what is life?
Right.
What is life, guys? what makes
Whatever
something
this
alive?
is.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. It's I guess that's kind of a human concept. So it's like it's whatever the fuck we say it is actually.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of define merit in your own life too.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
a bit of a variable in definition.
Like most things, everyone should have their own meaning for it.
Mm.
Mhm.
I think everyone should have their own meaning.
So the
for
meaning
everything.
to life is kind of individualized. It's
Should
not
be, I
one
feel like.
blanket answer.
Yeah, because then
think so.
otherwise you're just
I mean, I feel like
we all
if you
think
were,
differently.
you only have a certain time on this earth, and like, do we really know? If it's the way the books and the religions say it is. It's tough to say. You can only do what you can with the time you have.
Mhm.
There's a large cosmos, so you use your life that you have to the best of your ability.
Yeah. And when it gets into like the religion stuff, like obviously I grew up with the Bible, and that is one thing about witnesses is they actually read the Bible versus just talking to a preacher.
Yeah.
And it's like or being talked at by a preacher. And it's like I have a healthy respect, especially for the Torah, also the New Testament, but like the Old Testament specifically. And I find it really interesting because ancient Israelites did not take it literally. Like they understood it to be parable.
Right.
And it's like a very recent thing, like the last like 500 years, where people go, no, that shit happened. Adam and Eve.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
No, bro, it's a book of stories that happened though.
people
Based
get
on
very,
true,
very
you know?
literal for some reason about things like that. because
Yeah. If you want to get real tinfoil
it's
hat,
simplified.
if there
let's
is like
go.
a dark one,
Mm.
that would be like the
Lord
best thing he
Sidious.
could do. Yeah. If
Yeah.
if Darth Sidious runs the galaxy, that'd be like the best thing for him to do is like infiltrate the religion
Mm.
and then
Yeah.
like corrupt the message.
Yeah,
Mhm.
straight up.
Because to me, it's like not as
Well, it
deep. if
takes
you take
away-
it literally.
It takes away power from the
Yeah.
other side.
Well, in
you know?
some way,
That's
you
what
could
happens with
argue it has potentially happened with the way that there's all the language. It's the way it's been translated over centuries, and it's
Yeah,
the way it is today is not necessarily what it was then.
Sure.
and the way denominations will twist it
Mhm.
themselves just for. Sorry, some of them
Ain't-
prey on each other.
Ain't no
Yeah.
way that dude talked to a
Like,
bush that was
yeah.
on fire.
Sith
bro.
is upon us.
Dude.
Sith are here.
There's also just psychedelic usage back then
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
So a lot
yeah.
of that
Oh,
was
for
psychedelic
sure.
imagery being
100%.
put forth.
burning
Yeah.
That's what they
bush.
had.
No, for real. Acacia bush
Syphilis.
is relative to the area of Mount Sinai, so it's very possible that he was burning DMT.
Yeah. And
Fucking
he was
wild.
like, "What the
Yeah.
fuck?" Yeah. Hell yeah. That dude was like fucking God.
I mean, yeah. I mean, what the fuck else do you say about that?
yeah.
No,
yeah,
it's like,
no.
guys, I met God. I don't give a fuck what you guys think. I met God up there. Like that's what happens.
It's just
That's
like
what
doing like sand angels up there.
Just real
Yeah.
slow.
Sand
like,
angels. Yeah. He thinks he's going really fast. though.
Yeah. Like, holy
Yeah.
shit, I'm flying.
You stop this thing.
Holy shit, let me down.
Have you guys ever heard of ergot poisoning?
Heard of it.
I know about
Think
ergot.
about Ergot, you know about ergot, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Ergot.
basically expired grains like rye and stuff. They
Okay.
produce I think it's called ergot, and it's this compound where it's basically like LSD. Like if you
Okay.
eat too much expired grain, you just start tripping like crazy.
Oh,
A
that's
lot of
good
people
to
think
know.
that might
Red
be the
mold,
cause for the
baby.
witch trials too.
That's
really.
They also say that's possibly what Selma was. Like the Greeks getting together and taking. I think it's Plato talks about like there was like basically a secret society that was getting to. It might be Socrates. Basically, there's a secret society in ancient Greece that's getting together and doing something and like seeing stuff. And that's one of the prevailing theories is they were taking ergot beer, like LSD beer.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyway. Yeah,
Halloween party.
That sounds.
So is ergot poisoning basically just the effect, feeling the effects
Yeah.
of
It's like
okay.
doing it not on purpose. You just
Oh,
eat too much
okay.
expired grain and you trip out.
That'd be
That
wild.
would be some shit though. Like you didn't know,
Mm.
you know, and you eat something or whatever, and then you're just like within an hour, you're like,
I thought the sandwich was fine.
Like I would probably think that I'm not making it out of that one. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You got
Yeah.
duped by some ham and
That'd be
cheese.
crazy. That would be crazy.
I mean,
You
definitely.
call into work, you're like, I'm not okay. Like, I did have to call into work because my mom accidentally drugged me one time. That was pretty embarrassing.
You want to tell this story?
That's a good
Sure, yeah.
This sounds hilarious.
It's pretty bad. Let's see. I didn't get my license till I was like 18. And we went and I got my license. We drove way out to Cookville to get a car that was like, my mom owned the car, was like letting her ex-girlfriend borrow it, whatever. She was giving me the car. We're driving back. We lived like kind of in between Bellevue and Franklin at the time, like in the middle of nowhere. And so I'm following her because I didn't have a smartphone yet. And she had GPS. She ended up missing a turn or something. We stopped and got lunch. And like my back was kind of bugging me or something. And she was like, "Oh, I got ibuprofen if you want some." I was like, "Yeah, that'd be great." And she hands me these 4 like huge like white pills out of this like busted up ass ibuprofen bottle. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't know shit. And I was also doing a fair amount of drugs at the time. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so fast forward like 45-ish minutes, because we took a wrong turn, somehow ended up in like Spring Hill.
Okay.
And so, another 45 minutes to Bellevue.
That's
yeah.
a good turn.
Yeah. We were like on 840, I think, and she missed an exit. I don't really know. That's like trying to figure it out now, knowing the roads better. But anyway, we're getting back. We lived kind of by the Natchez Trace Bridge. It was like under the bridge. You hit Highway 100. You take a right. It's like sort of by Loveless Cafe. There's this like this road that if you turn right from where the bridge is, the Natchez Trace Bridge, like it loops around for like 3 miles and comes out by Loveless Cafe. And we were like at the top of this hill. We used to joke that it was like a portal to another universe because that place was just fucking strange. But anyway, I'm starting to feel all kinds of weird. I'm like fucking trying not to fall asleep, and like it's 3 p.m. Like I'm like, dude, what the fuck is happening? And then we turn on the streets, like windy back roads. I'm like struggling, and our driveway was kind of like a little horseshoe, like a little half loop. And she turns into like the first little spot. I go around her, and my loopy ass like overcorrected, and I end up slipping into this little ditch and like fucked up the car. Like the axle got all fucked up and whatever. But I was supposed to go to work, and I already told my boss I was going to be late because of taking a wrong turn or whatever. And I called him, and I'm like, I went and took a shower, got out of the shower. I was like, this house is off. Like, and I walked into the kitchen, and my roommate had made a pot of coffee. So I like pour a cup of coffee, like step outside and smoking a cigarette. I'm like, oh, this feels fucking great. And my mom's like, "Are you sure? Are you okay? Like, can you go to work?" I'm like, "I don't know."
What's that?
And then I went to sit down or something, and it was just like sloppy. Like I go to sit instead of just like this. I like fell over real hard. And she was like, "Yeah, I don't think you should go to work." And she starts looking through her purse, and turns out she had a bottle of ibuprofen, but the bottle she gave me was like a prescription muscle relaxers in an old ibuprofen bottle for some fucking reason. Yeah, so she gave me 4 of them, and like the dose was only 1 or something. And like I was fucked up. It was great. But, like,
Muscle relaxers.
It was, dude, I was having the best time, but I had to call my boss and be like, "Hi, I can't come in after all." And he's like, "Why not?" Like he was pissed. I'm like, "My mom Con gave me some drugs." He was not fucking happy at all.
It's not my fault.
Damn.
Yeah, I had a car for like 12 hours maybe, and fucking fucked it up in a ditch because I was all high on muscle relaxer.
Fuck, man. Wow.
I drove it for like 2 weeks. I didn't know the axle was fucked up. You get above like 50 and it'd be like, I'm like, well, that's weird.
Oh well.
Why is
Yeah.
that happening?
Yeah.
Damn.
Good times. Good times.
Where do you guys think people came from? Like not life Specifically,
dude.
Specifically human beings.
I mean,
These nuts, dude.
Did you say these nuts, dude?
Yeah, these nuts, bro. That's where people came from.
You know where they
Dude,
come
you know
from.
what blows my mind? I never thought
Yeah,
about
where do babies come from?
Sears.
The butt.
I
Sears?
learned that from Calvin and Hobbes. They come from Sears.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Build a
The
baby.
more you know.
Build your own baby. Yeah.
That was back when orphanages were in Sears.
Oh, you're right.
You could just buy one.
Oh yeah, so I think I'll take this one.
Yes. Yes.
Is there a return?
Does this
policy
one have all
on
the
this one?
shots?
So okay, do you think it's like a natural progression, like from monkey to person, or
Or what? Just like that.
I mean, yeah, over many
Okay,
years.
yeah.
Yeah.
so?
I didn't know. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say like
Stardust.
I like this theory. There's a lot of prevailing ones. Like they say there's a missing link, but not if it's a very very gradual slope, right?
Mm.
That
Donnie,
makes sense to me
Flea
too.
from the Wild Thornberries.
He's
You missed that.
Donnie.
That was good.
Yeah, he's eternal.
Yeah.
I didn't know. It was like a few years ago. I was in DC and we went to like the Smithsonian Museum there or whatever, and there was this whole exhibit that I did not get to spend nearly enough time in. That was like just the evolution of humanity, and it was fucking fascinating because I just like never thought about different species of human being.
Yeah.
I'd never considered that. Like they had this whole section that was like about each different kind and like kind of the sort of rough
Section on Ozzy. And
yeah right, no, but just like the periods of time that each of them lived and whatever, and they had these like sort of like busts of the heads that they made from just whatever bone fragments they found and shit, and they had them all kind of at the height, like the average height that each one would be. And I guess Homo sapiens are like the biggest, but
Oh really?
yeah, like there were one of the earliest humans were like fucking tiny
Damn.
little, yeah, like
Oh, you're talking about
Ewoks.
Homo florensiensis or
something like that. I couldn't
little
remember all the
dudes.
names. Yeah, they're tiny. They look more like monkeys than any other human. You know, like they have their heads are kind of like pushed back and like big noses and like eyes are sunk way back in.
And seeing something like that, it's kind of like, okay, now it makes sense how we came from monkeys.
No, straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Flying spaghetti monster, dude.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wasn't gonna say it,
Pastafari.
but yes.
He just fucking noodles us out, and we're just like,
What is it?
Slimy.
Parmesan 316.
Yeah. On that note, there's on DoorDash,
Saucy
there's a
God.
restaurant called Pasta Slut. I've been really thinking.
Oh,
about getting
yeah.
food.
I think we're all going to pasta
Yeah.
slut.
well, you haven't had her
Do it.
pasta.
I haven't had her pasta yet.
Pretty
I'm
good.
so down with that.
You gotta like spit on the
It's-
noodles.
You gotta go.
Fucking smack them. You gotta talk dirty.
Oh
You have
God.
to know. You have to get consent first before you do anything. You
Get
have
your
to get
ear down.
consent.
Is this okay?
Can I completely annihilate you?
Can I
Please.
eat you?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And he goes.
Damn.
But yeah, the missing link question.
Yeah.
Seeing that when I saw that, I had never thought of that. I didn't
Oh.
ever like try to look into it or anything. But seeing like the different species of human through
So yeah,
centuries and centuries and eons and whatever, it's crazy to.
intuitively, I'm like, okay, there's something definitely separating us from animals, right? Like the slave
like
theory.
what
Terrence
started
McKenna,
it? Yeah.
they took monkeys took mushrooms.
Mhm.
Kind of like you were talking the first, like you accidentally get ergot poisoning. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
If
right.
you're a monkey, you just start like, oh shit, I'm aware of my existence
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
And like that theory doesn't not hold water to me. Or like the Anunnaki, like fucking Mesopotamian, Sumerian text actually talk. The oldest living text we have is the Epic of Gilgamesh, and it talks about the history or how people came to be. And those things made sense to me until I started like getting older and thinking about, well, no, it's not that there's a missing link. It's that humans are fucking ancient. It's that people have existed for a very long time, and it's a very gradual progression. So all of these ideas make sense to me, but that one does make a lot of sense to me too.
Didn't Star Trek happen before natural human life?
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
So I think
Yes.
Dr. Spock
You're talking about Star Wars.
was no Star Trek.
Yo, may the fourth be with you, dude.
I think Dr. Spock did a little jiggy thing
Do you remember when
in a
Gandalf
lab,
did that?
and he like made all of us
Did a little jizzy thing in the lab.
jiggy.
No, right here.
No.
Oh,
Scissoring.
no.
man.
Oh, we're okay.
Intergalactic scissoring.
We're gonna have to blur that out.
Okay. Okay.
Wait,
That
no,
was,
let's try
That's a
this
great
instead.
album name, Intergalactic Scissoring
Intergalactic
Mm.
scissoring.
Nice.
or podcast.
Yeah, either or, dude.
Hey,
Wait, so
two podcasts.
I think I'll just rebrand this now. It's Intergalactic Scissoring.
Oh, I'm with it.
What were you gonna say?
I gotta cycle back here. Star Trek takes place in the past. I thought it was like
No.
super future.
It is. Yeah, it's the future.
I mean,
Okay,
Star Wars
yeah.
is
I'm
long,
straight
long
as
time
fuck.
ago.
Star Wars is the past. It's
Star
a
Wars
long-
happened.
Star Wars
Okay.
was
Oh yeah.
Star
he
Trek
came
is
for
like
Yoda.
21, 22. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I didn't really
did go to
watch
New
it, but I
York
do
in
remember
1980. That was a good time.
While we're talking about Star Wars, and I'll try not to go off on a whole thing here,
Yeah.
but something I love George Lucas. I'm more of a George Lucas fan than I am a Star Wars fan.
What part of him do you like the most?
He's a fucking
Is it
meme,
his-
dude.
his-
The leg,
his turkey-
the
is it his
thigh.
turkey Is it his turkey neck?
The
Just do
whole
lap.
head.
Anything he's ever said in an interview is just fucking gold. Like, in talking about the prequel movies, he's like, it's very bold in terms of jerking people around, but I may have gone a bit too far in a few places.
I do
That's
like how he
fucking-
talks.
that's a good George Lucas right
Oh,
there,
thank you.
bud.
I practiced it a lot.
Hell yeah.
Do the lean thing where he's like, what's another George Lucas film? American Graffiti was the best film I ever made.
I want Jar Jar to walk like a black man.
Hey.
Did he say this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I didn't know he did that.
Oh my god, dude!
Yeah.
George Lucas rabbit hole goes so fucking deep. I promise not to talk about DMT or George Lucas. They've heard enough of this.
You should call the episode DMT and George Lucas.
Yeah.
That's what I
Papa
live for.
George.
Oh man, George Lucas is such a fucking meme. So episode
He's
4, New Hope,
Mhm.
is about I wrote I was homeschooled, but I had like a curriculum, and I wrote a paper on episode 4 one time. It's
Hell yeah.
about a knight that goes to save a princess, and he uses a sword to fight an evil wizard.
Yeah.
And it's not sci-fi. Like
No.
Star Trek is sci-fi.
Yeah.
Star
Yeah.
Trek is sci-fi as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Wars is straight up fantasy in a sci-fi setting.
Yeah.
It's
Straight up,
futuristic
yeah.
fantasy.
Straight up.
And what's
And then
hilarious.
Harry Potter is just rebranded Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's just kids with wands.
Except way less good.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So does it follow like the hero's journey, like Joseph Campbell,
Yeah.
that kind of thing?
No. Yeah. It's
Mm.
it's like the most classic light and dark.
It really
They
is.
just painted it like
The-
like sci-fi.
yeah.
You
the
know.
ultimate.
Yeah. And it's funny because episode 5, like Star Wars, did super fucking good.
Mm.
Way better than he thought it was going to.
Yeah.
And then episode 5 gets contracted, and he's like, I don't want to direct it. So
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
else directed episode 5 because George Lucas didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You guys know about McClunky?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking Spielberg almost did fucking Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he was like this close to doing it, and
Damn.
then because him and Spielberg and George Lucas have been like longtime
Yeah.
friends. I guess
Fuck
like
buddies.
I think it's Jaws, yeah. I think it's Jaws and
Professionally done sex tape out there.
and A New Hope that came out around the same time, and they had a bet
Oh, okay.
on like whichever movie did better. Whoever won
Had
and
to
their
blow
movie
the
did
other.
better was gonna get right, yeah, but was gonna give them like a little percentage of the like the royalties or whatever.
Okay.
Oscar.
Is it
my
like
ass.
Yoda's like an ET, isn't he? Like a Yoda.
Kind of.
E.T. was in the council, or the
Yeah,
Senate.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
The
In
Senate.
episode
There was
one.
a
Yeah,
whole
that's
thing
right.
of ETs. Yeah,
Mhm.
That's
that was a nod to Spielberg. Yeah, yeah.
what a disgusting
then-
creature.
yeah.
What a horrid little monster.
I love it. I love it.
What,
What a piece of
sad,
shit.
When
Yeah.
I was like 6 and
E.T.
saw
going
that, I was
home.
like, "He's
Figure it
so
out,
cute."
bitch.
It's a testicle with limbs.
Yeah. You don't
I mean,
love
so
that?
is Yoda though.
No, I would take a
So
baseball
am
bat
I.
and bash it crazy.
Oh
I mean, I
my
will
God.
say, look, if you heard
That
something
walks
rummaging
a
through your
beat.
house in the middle of the night and you walked out, turned the light on, you'd freak the fuck
Oh
out.
yeah. Oh yeah.
No.
And it's like,
I have this thing about like things that look like they're in pain scare me.
I love that.
Like,
oh my God.
like that's so much worse
Yeah.
than like a
Did you say
wall, like a big.
that
Yeah.
look like they're in
Yeah, it looks like they're suffering because then it's like I have to empathize and put myself in that
Right.
position, and it's like, why
Right.
God? Yeah,
Oh
like-
my God.
yeah.
I love that.
We
And I'm
had
so
that's
sorry.
fair.
You guys know Platypus 9?
Yeah,
Yeah, we had Joseph Page on here. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite fucking episodes ever because we were talking about the name, and he starts telling me about platypi and how the platypus is bioluminescent. It's a mammal, but it lays eggs and has a bill, and it has a fucking beaver tail. And he's like, yeah, that shit didn't just happen. And I'm like, maybe you're right. That's fucking weird. Like, how does natural selection account for that? Like, that's just weird. Nothing else like that.
Animals.
Someone fucked a duck, dude. That's what happened. Someone really ugly fucked a duck.
Someone
And they
with a
glue in the
beaver
dark.
tail who laid eggs and glows in the dark.
A
Yeah.
Russian scientist.
I thought it was a beaver. A beaver and a duck fell in love.
When a beaver and a duck love each
I
other
thought
very
it was-
much.
It was like a fox and the hound situation, but it was a beaver and a duck.
Wait, did they
That's
fuck in
what
that movie?
Fox and Hound's based
Yeah,
on. The
dude.
beaver and the duck that made the platypus.
They don't
right?
show it,
Wait,
but it
what?
happens.
I was like in for a second. I'm like, oh really?
I can tell.
Oh wow. You learn something every day. I'm learning many things today.
We try
The
our
whole
best.
band is
I
kind
learned
of
how
just
teeth grow.
it's-
Where babies come from.
the whole band is kind of just a bit. You know,
Yeah.
like we make music and we take that seriously, but everything else
It's
is
a bit
just
stupid.
We don't take it.
bit. Right.
We're fucking stupid as shit.
This is great.
Touche.
Shooter's Gallery. We got
Sadly
it.
for you guys, the stupidest member is not here right now.
I don't even
Really
know- I don't
fucking
even-
dumb.
God, if Greg would be eating this up, man.
Oh yeah.
I'm bummed he's not here.
There's always
But-
next time.
Alas, everyone's got to become a robot one day, and he's got that operation going.
He's gone.
Yeah.
He's in there going. Ass, kiss it.
Line zero. Ah.
Like, you guys talk shit about me on this fucking
You
podcast.
sure did, fuckhead.
And now all the one person watching this is like, he's an idiot.
This guy sucks.
Yeah.
This
Maybe
Greg
that
guy's
one
a
person's
cunt.
gonna come to a show like 2 years from now and throw a tomato and hit Greg on the chest.
Just right in the balls.
My mom's gonna watch this and be like, he said cunt just then.
He's talking about
Twice.
making your teeth grow.
We got a
She's
lot
on
of
the line.
places.
She knows.
I was wondering if we were gonna get through this whole thing without you talking about cum.
It's,
No.
I'm glad we didn't.
That's where I came from.
Where we
Ah.
came from.
See,
And
as
on
you
that
asked,
note-
where do people come from? It's in the name.
It answers its own question when you ask that.
Yeah.
So no one knows the answer, but I like to get different perspectives on it because it's something I think about a lot. What do you think happens to us after we die?
Fishbowl.
Fishbowl?
Pebbles.
Fish. These are just words.
Nope.
That's not an explanation.
We all get redistributed in a giant fishbowl that the mother god swims around in. And it's like this face. It's a human face on a fish that's swimming around in this giant fishbowl, and it's just we're all pebbles and it's shitting on us.
I like this answer.
The
That's all it is.
I believe it.
You
now.
know, the
Good.
concept
I'm
of
glad you
heaven.
do.
Thanks, man.
Welcome to
It's-
the club.
Yeah, can I join your cult?
$50 a month,
Okay, cool.
and
Now,
then you can
worth
be in the fishbowl.
dude, I want to be in the fishbowl with the fucking fish face lady.
One day.
I guess we're all going there. We're all going
But I
there.
If
mean,
you
in
pay
a way,
$50
too,
a
everybody,
month.
everybody is the fish face lady.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Do we have?
You all right?
Oh,
You good?
I'm trying to ask what the fish lady is without like walking into a yo mama joke. The fish face lady.
You already know, baby.
Very nice.
That's a good question, dude. She's all of our.
Just
mama.
like cum, you answered your own question.
Oh,
do,
wow.
do we have any alternative answers, or is it just fishbowl pebbles?
Well,
Yeah. I mean, like
hang
the
on.
the concept of heaven's like that's all well and good. That'd be great, you know.
Hmm.
But like, it's really like that's just most likely. not.
Wait, do you believe in heaven just because it sounds cool?
No.
Like, were you gonna?
No, that's my point.
Okay,
Like,
okay, yeah.
like the fact that like all of our loved ones have died, and that's the whole thing that we're
Right.
told as we're children. That, oh, we're gonna get to see them. We're
I,
gonna see
I
your
still
dog.
scratch
and all
up
that.
with the
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witness end game.
Oh yeah, we just all come
Still-
back here on Paradise Earth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
live forever, and everybody that you've ever loved is going to be resurrected.
Sounds
That was a
fucking
Jehovah's
awful.
Witness. You know,
That is, I'm just gonna kill myself.
I recently I
Yeah.
made a joke to one of my cousins about because Canada's on fire. I'm like,
Yeah, that's
it's
pretty
Armageddon,
wild.
dude. It's coming.
Yeah, every like 10 years it's Armageddon.
I have a Jehovah's Witness question for you after this is over.
Okay.
Um,
It is interesting how they've predicted the end of the world like 8 times and they've been right every single time.
yeah.
1914, that's when the world ended.
1914,
1970, that's when the world ended.
Yep.
It did. I was
Yep.
I
I
mean
was there.
yeah.
20 times over.
Yeah.
Poor
Just
Evan.
move past it, just move past it.
You've just gotten more and more just like.
Me and Evan are both really gullible, so we're just like, no, yeah, that makes sense.
Do you know if you say gullible really slowly, it sounds like giraffe?
Oh.
Go. You're right.
The word gullible is
There you
used
go.
82 times in the book of Exodus.
Fuck.
I
told you, I told you.
Yeah. Fuck.
I believe all
I
humans are
like
predestined
to-
hell anyway. So fuck 'em.
I don't, not to say that I think this is, there's no way that we know what the fuck is going to happen when we die.
For sure. No
because-
one some
we're
people act
alive
like they
right
do,
now.
but no one knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a conversation like with a friend of mine that I like the idea of like, because we have this joke when you do back to the DMT thing. When you do DMT, you experience death for 15 minutes. It's like that's kind of where the soul aspect of it goes. You know,
Yeah.
maybe because there's a weird familiarity to it. Also, and
Oh,
the
yeah,
whole
the whole
idea of
deja
like
vu, yeah.
source consciousness and blah blah blah. Whether
Mhm.
that's actually a thing or not, I don't know. But kind of an interesting idea.
I'm kind of I'm in that camp.
Yeah. And
It's
then there's the whole like my partner's like really into like reincarnation and stuff like that, and it's just a very interesting thing to think about because I don't think that I believe it or disbelieve it. It's just like I just want to know more about what
Yeah.
people believe in about it,
for sure. I'm
Because
very curious.
I'm firmly in. We don't know. Like you're not gonna
Oh,
know
yeah,
until
nobody
you die.
knows.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even though DMT feels like that, it
Yeah.
feels like a returning. It's
Right.
that could also just be fucking synapses firing in your brain.
Right. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then this lights out. I think
Very true.
we'll never have an answer till we get there.
And you can't share it with anybody.
Yeah.
If your
At least
entire
here.
if your entire concept of time collapses right when you die, you can experience a millennia of heaven or hell
Yeah.
or whatever
Mhm.
it is just in that second when your brain shuts off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah.
That's a good fucking point, bud.
Mhm.
I'm excited to die.
Can't fucking wait, dude.
Well, I'm not as scared.
We gotta go to
Say
the
I wanna
pasta
die,
slut
but-
first.
Pasta slut,
Yeah.
pasta
Slap it
slut,
around.
and then it's curtains if you want it to
Yeah.
be.
Oh wait, no, you guys have a show. coming
Oh,
up.
we have the
Oh,
show.
right, right, right.
June
29th
at Exit.
After
Exit.
the show, or maybe at the end of the show, we'll kill it.
Yeah.
Up to you,
Hey,
viewers.
me at the
hey,
end of the
the
show.
It's turning into
30th,
Gigi Allen.
the 30th will be the last day,
Yeah.
and then at midnight, July 1st.
Goodbye.
That's it.
Lights out.
Did it.
So you definitely need to be there July 29th.
Come see
At
me
Exit
alive
in.
for the last time.
Yeah. With Wulven and Tape Deck Mountain. And you're playing your album in its entirety. Remind me the name?
The sky lay still while all around us fell.
Yes. Good name, just long.
Yeah, it's long. Yeah.
Like all good things.
Yeah.
Long, but good.
You know, like life, man.
It's long, dude.
Too long.
And not good.
And good if you
Good.
make it. Good. It's good if you got money. Dude.
Life's what you
Yeah.
make it, dude. Life is decent.
I'm kind of the opinion that like I had a DMT trip that kind of solidified this, but I also just thinking about it logically, this is what makes sense to me. I think we're all the same person. And what
Mhm.
makes us different is like experiential and also like your biology. And that's like
Yeah.
beyond that, it's like the thing that pilots us is not unique. It's like
Right.
that's just what makes sense to me. Also, intuitively, I kind of think that this was just a weird. I ate some edibles. I was really fucking high.
Sick.
Thinking I don't have any explanation for this, but I think like I was just thinking about why is there not nothing at all? Why is it not just
Is that not what the universe is?
nothing? And it's like the fact that we're all sitting here to me implies that everything, both imaginable and unimaginable, exists.
Mm.
So I think it's like me personally, I kind of feel like it's everything. Like anything is possible,
Yeah.
and not only possible, but it is actualized. It exists.
Yeah.
Ice cream unicorn dump truck.
That. Oh yeah, that's real. Yeah.
That's an album name. That sounds like a Limp Bizkit album, actually. To expand on that a little bit with the "we're all the same person" idea. My like long 3-year thing of being sober. At the end of that, I did some DMT again, and I was with a friend that I like really trust that I've known forever, who is really good at like having conversations like this that helps me kind of pick it apart, like just after it's happened kind of thing, when it's just like, what the fuck, but there was this weird thing that I saw when I was kind of there or whatever, that was like this big, I don't know how to describe it other than like a pool, and it was like these tiny little channels running off into these like cups in a way, like these little tiny vessels, right? And it was just kind of following this like liquid or whatever it was. It was coming from this like huge pool. That was it's yeah, it was trying to grow some teeth. Because there was this like big geometric like network thing, and then this pool was just kind of like just separate from all of that. Like it didn't have any like shape necessarily, and it was just flowing through this all these channels and this little network into these tiny little vessels, and then sort of whatever the perspective was of me seeing that, it kind of like zoomed out in a way where all the little vessels were like brains. So it's like the whole idea, we were talking about it in terms of like this whole thing is like source consciousness, and it's just those little bits of that in every person. And I think why that's, in a way, we were talking about how that's kind of why in some way, like just people feel familiar, and then maybe you gravitate more towards certain people because like there's a closer part of that source to you, I guess.
It's like a resonance.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, just like a super interesting idea that kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of The Shining, where like Stephen King was touching on something I think has a lot of validity to it. Like I've taken mushrooms with people and like had like fucking telepathic conversations. Like I'll be thinking something and they'll say it, like to the point where it's like eerie.
Right.
It's like we know what each other's thinking. And I think it's not that certain people have it and certain people don't. It's like certain people resonate strongly with each other. And I think this is true of like places and objects too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like the CIA did a study, crazy shit. They've done so much crazy shit, where they call it energy bar tools. But basically, like you can have a familiarity with like a tool, and like for example, like a sword, and it's like someone else can use this sword, but once you've like really attuned yourself with it, it's like that's the two things together. Like it's not like double powerful; it's like exponentially powerful because you have this like resonance with this object, and you like put a lot of your like
chooses the wizard.
I don't like these Harry Potter references. I disliked Harry Potter before it was cool to dislike Harry Potter.
Oh, is it cool to dislike it now?
Yeah.
I think I didn't even see it till it was cool.
Oh yeah, J.K. Rowling's like hella canceled.
Oh, I know that part of it. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Plus, it's just kids with wands.
I wasn't allowed to watch it growing up. I wasn't
allowed
to watch it, so I didn't see it until I was like 20.
As an adult, I read the books and watched the movies, and I'm like, God, this fucking sucks.
Yeah, straight up.
They're like, oh.
Yeah, to be fair, it is a children's book.
Yeah, no, I was
like, it's a kid's book, actually. That's fair.
I think there was like third or fourth movie, and I was like, if I was a kid, I'd probably be into it from the get go.
Yeah,
I was vibing like through Prisoner of Azkaban, and then like I think it's book 4 is where it like doubles in size.
Yeah,
and there's the same amount of content in it. It's just like you're just in Miss McGonagall's classroom for way too long, but like the same amount of shit happens.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, fuck that.
I liked him for a little while, and then it was a very quick, just like, all right, cool. Emma Watson was
I
awesome.
read them, but it's
To
just
see
you know, it's not
For a
like
while.
it's
When
not
they
like
were
Lord of the
done.
Rings or
As a child?
Star
Yeah.
Wars.
As a
to me. Those
child.
are my
Okay.
favorite.
No. When I was a child,
Oh, okay.
after she
Okay.
had not been a child.
Gotcha. I was about to be like, where are you going?
Your
This is
timeline is
Alabama?
all messed up.
Yeah.
Have you read the Silmarillion?
You know, a little bit. It's
Dave's too smart for all that.
yeah.
It's Ayn Rand.
It's just like I mean, I enjoyed the Lord of the Rings and
Got his ass with Ayn Rand.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I was just saying I like Lord of the Rings and
Yeah.
The Hobbit the best, and then I've read a little bit of the other stuff like Children of Hurin and stuff a little bit, but Silmarillion's a little too much like
Dense.
philosophy.
Yeah.
It's like a religious text. It's
Oh,
very
for sure.
Catholic, Yeah.
Don't get him started on children.
Well, gentlemen, I really appreciate your time.
Thanks
This
for
has
having
been
us.
really fun.
Yeah, it has.
I can only take so much, you guys. Kidding. No, for real. I'd love to have you guys back. For
Alice
real.
is exhausted right now.
It's just
Um,
like, oh my god.
The Sky Lay Still While All Around Us Fell is out now. All platforms,
Yep.
pretty much.
Yep.
Stream it. Put it into your pregnant bellies and let your children hear it. Intergalactic infusion. Impregnance.
Begin.
Intergalactic
Now.
Impregnance begins now.
Do it.
Link below.
Come.
And then go see these guys perform it live. Exit in June 29th with other great bands, Wulver and Tape Deck Mountain. Wulven.
Wulven da.
Thanks, Alice. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.